Hello, welcome to Club Cook. We're going to make a nice chicken curry today. Very mild. You can make it as spicy as you like, but this will be mild as korma, or even more mild than that if you want. And very creamy, like a korma. We're going to cook that with we're going to make some rice to go with that too. So I'm starting off with about 500 grams of chicken thigh fillets. Not too expensive. These are free range from Aldi, so about £3, £3.30 for that. Now you can use just less chicken and more vegetables than this, or you can make all vegetables. We're going to use red pepper and sweet potatoes with this one. And of course onions, always use onions. So we'll start off cutting the thighs. Now these are boned and skinned, that's usually how they sell them. So we want to cut them fairly small, but enough so that you can get chunks of chicken, because I think that's nice in a curry. You could also use chicken breast, but that's usually more expensive, and actually there's more flavour, I think, in chicken thighs. So more flavour, and it costs less. Sounds a good deal. So we'll just chop all of that up now. You open them up flat like that, you can cut them into strips and then chunks. One more. Right, so we'll get that started in the pan, a little bit of oil, and I'm going to pop that in. So the chicken's just had 5 minutes to cook, and we're just going to take that off the heat and pop that in a bowl just for a short while. I'm just setting that aside. Yeah. Now we're going to do some vegetables to put in that. Again, they can vary. You don't have to have the same things, but I'm going to start with onions and sweet potato and red pepper. If you were making this vegetarian, I would put, well, obviously more vegetables in, but cauliflower florets would be really nice, broken up quite small. And you can also put a tin of chickpeas in, which is really good, and keep those whole. We wouldn't blend those, give it some texture. The onion. Now this time we probably will cut it quite fine, because we don't want to, well, it's nice if that cooks down. It actually adds quite a lot of sweetness, a cooked onion. Goes quite sweet. People think of it as a savoury thing, but it's got quite a lot of natural sugars in it, which is nice. Right, we do the rest of the onions, and we'll pop those in. If there's not enough oil in the pan, just add a little bit more again, and pop those in. Get them cooking nice and soft. Now we'll start with the sweet potato. We'll peel the 2 potatoes, and then we'll chop them and chop those up. Now these are going to cook down, sweet potato cooks nice and soft and makes a lovely creamy sauce. So it doesn't matter what shape they are, but just to cook a bit quicker, we'll cut them reasonably small. That goes in with the onion. That's your 2 sweet potatoes and a red pepper. Now, nice easy way to cut red peppers. Cut them down the middle, open them up and get the stem there. Just break that a bit with your hand and pull it out. Tap out the seeds. Take out some of the pithy bit. There we are. And then again there, just take out the core. And that way you're just throwing, in fact we could even use that bit. Right? You're only throwing that away and the seeds. Nice easy way to cut pepper. And we're going to cut that into chunks. Now I would cut this into reasonable sized chunks because I think that's nice to have a chunk of pepper and a bit of texture. But if you've got picky eaters who say, I don't like pepper, then they can pick those bits out, can't they? And give them to the other person around the table who likes it. Yeah, and the pepper goes into that a stir, nice, get that nice and sizzling. Now for the flavour, for the curry flavour, you can make your own curry paste and I'll put that on the recipe card for you to see because it is very easy. But first time round, you might just want to buy something like this, quite cheap, or might come in a jar like that. Korma is a very mild spice and you'll see the number of chilies there. So that 1 chilli is very not spicy. About half a jar of that or one of these pots. So we'll get that in now. The vegetables are cooking nicely. We'll pop the spices in. A nice sizzle. And the curry and the chicken can go back in now. The reason you cook the chicken, take it out, then pop it back in, is you want the chicken to brown nicely and you want the vegetables to brown. You might get a lot of juice from the chicken, which would make it all a bit steamy, so it's nice if it sort of has a sizzly fry. But then put them back together. Give that a stir. Now, magic creamy curry sauce coming up. Tin of coconut milk. Coconut milk separates in the can, which is fine because we're just going to stir it in. But it's quite good to shake it. Good job to get one of the kids to do. Go and shake that coconut milk. There we are. And to make it nice and rich and creamy, peanut butter. Traditionally in korma curries, it's ground almonds and things, but peanut butter works really well. And also to give it a bit of nice colour and a bit more oomph, some tomato puree. So those are the 3 things we're going to put in the sauce, as well as some stock, some vegetable stock or chicken stock, whatever you have. Okay, so the chicken and spices and vegetables have been cooking just for a few minutes there. We're going to add some of the liquid for the creamy sauce. So that's the coconut milk, a whole can of that. If it's a bit lumpy, doesn't matter, it all mixes up. And we're going to put some peanut butter in. So 2 spoonfuls, nice 3 spoonfuls. In there. So that's the coconut milk and the peanut butter in there, and about half a litre of stock, vegetable stock that I've already made up there. Made up a bit much. Put that all in. and some tomato puree. Don't really need to measure it, sort of more or less 2 spoonfuls or 2 big squirts. There we are. Right, a gentle stir, and we'll leave that to cook for 10-15 minutes until all the sweet potato is nice and soft and mushy. That'll add to the creamy sauce and it'll all look a bit thicker. So we'll just leave that to cook for a while, and we'll get on with some rice. Now we're going to cook rice. You may know how to cook rice, I'm sure a lot of people do, but they do sell a lot of this in supermarkets, so I suspect a lot of people buy it, and it is a very expensive way to buy rice. That will cost you normal price £1.60. Even a cheap bargain will be 80p, 90p. So, and that serves 2 people. Now, if you cook rice yourself, it costs you about 5p a person. So it is really worth cooking. One thing some people have said they find a problem with is I never know how much to cook. So a bag of dry rice, and it can be value rice, supermarket owned, it really doesn't matter, is a bit like pasta. It's a big handful each. So I pour it from this packet. So that much for one person. 1, 2, so 4 handfuls for four people. And we just add just a tiny bit of salt, actually less than that, so use your fingers and that, throw that away. And then we're going to cover that with boiling water to about that much, say a centimetre above the level of the rice. However much rice you've got there, put the boiling water on and about that much on top. Give it a little stir when you put it in, just so there aren't any big clogs sticking together. I've lost my lid. And pop a lid on it. Some lids have a little hole in, and that's great. Just lets a little bit of steam out. If you've got a solid lid or a plate, if you haven't got a lid, just put it to the side a little bit, so you've got a little bit of steam coming out. Doesn't matter too much. And we're going to leave that for about 10 or 12 minutes. Check it once or twice in that time, just in case you need more liquid, because different rice, it's a bit like different flours, different brands. Some absorb more water than others. So if you use the same rice every time, you'll get to know. But just check you don't need to a little top up with water from the kettle if it's getting a bit dry. But otherwise, you can just leave it for 10 minutes. There we are. Okay, so the rice is nicely cooked now. As you can see, that's quite fluffy. And you can fork that up fluff it up with a fork, and that's just about right. Lovely and fluffy. And there we are, there's the rice, a nice generous portion of rice, and a really lovely, creamy, very chickeny curry. Actually, there is a lot of chicken in this, and you could easily make it with half the amount of chicken to go a little bit further. And there we are. That's a lot cheaper than a takeaway. All of that, even with that chicken in, costs about £1 per person, which I think is really good value. And make it spicier if you like. Add a bit of chilli or chilli flakes, or just have some chilli sauce and chutney or ketchup on the table, and people can add to it what they like. Enjoy.